Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the business edition with just a touch of Sillyville near the end. Before we get some dystopian terror in the mix, so just stay tuned. Stay tuned. The end is nigh. The end is nigh. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In case I didn't say that yet, but who knows? Got myself off the script, so. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on into the news. First is an update from Amazon. Our recent response to Representative Proton basically saying, yeah, we were wrong. Actually, our people do pee in bottles. Hey, Alexa, where's my bottle? So there's kind of this back and forth. You don't really believe the peeing in bottles thing, do you? So here was their PR statement on Amazon's website, news.aboutamazon.com. This is linked in the comments down there. We'll have the link back to the website with all these articles. This was an own goal. We're unhappy about it, and we owe an apology to Representative Proton. First, the tweet was incorrect. Okay, so the tweet is about paying workers $50 an hour doesn't make you a progressive workplace when you union bust and make workers urinate in bottles. First, the tweet was incorrect. It did not contemplate our large driver population, instead wrongly focused on our fulfillment centers. A typical Amazon fulfillment center has dozens of restrooms, which, by the way, is still a lie, and employees are able to step away from their workstation at any time. They'll just get fired if they do. If any employee in a fulfillment center has a different experience, we encourage them to speak to their manager, who will promptly fire you. Second, our process was flawed. The tweet did not receive proper scrutiny. We did not hold ourselves to extremely high accuracy bar at all times, and that is especially so when we are criticizing comments. Third, we know that drivers do have trouble finding restrooms because of traffic or sometimes in rural routes, as especially been the case during the COOF, and many public restrooms have been closed, long-standing industry-wide issue, not specific to Amazon. Yeah. Just equip those trucks with porta potties. It's all good. Cassette toilets. They're a thing. So there we are. We apologize for misrepresenting that our workers do not pee in bottles. Thank you for the update, Amazon. And another update to Amazon. Apparently the union has failed. Now, part of this union process is everybody who votes, their vote is public. And at the time of the vote, Amazon can come up and be like, let's find a reason to have this guy's vote not count. And so, yeah, it's kind of like the Gestapo. It's like going before the judge trying to accuse the judge of what he did wrong. Yeah, that's really going to work well. But anyway, they did hold the union vote, and it does, it did not pass. So sorry, Amazon workers, no unionization for you. I'm kind of neutral on this. I don't really care. I think unions had their place in the past. I think we need to do something right now, but unions is not it. They stand there in the middle, they collect their fees, and then they do with it whatever they want. And sometimes they just, more often than not, they're just forced money collection, forced theft, political wings is what they are. It's kind of insane. There was one project I was once working on. They were a group that did things for like activist groups. There's a company that sells websites to activist groups and things like that. So because they're activists and all about $15 an hour minimum wage and all these types of things, their pay was extraordinarily low. And to work with them, they forced you to sign a freelancers union, which is like, blows my head up. Like, freelancer and union are complete opposite, and you want to be all about, we want to push better wages, and they didn't even want to pay me the full wage. I said, sure, let's do it for a while, see what this is all about. But, ended up not being very good. I left after about a year and a half because it was crazy and the pay just wasn't good. And you know what? I didn't need a union to tell me that. You want to give me more money? No, all right, bye. I got plenty of other clients instead. So I don't really care. I have a whole video on this coming out on Saturday. If you're watching this now, if you're watching this later in the replay, which will happen on Sunday, it happened yesterday. So search my channel. I have a video coming out that is called Why is Firefox Dying? dying, where we used this article as our launching point. So we're not going to say as much about this here. We will, though, go ahead and have more detail there. The basic TLDR of this one is that Microsoft Edge has now exceeded Firefox in browser use. This is what happens when you decide to be political and join in with people and say, we want to censor the internet, and you're a web browser. Yeah, people tend to adopt Microsoft more than you. Go back to the drawing board, Firefox. I don't want to see you die, but unfortunately, you're dying. Sorry. Valve's Proton. So if you are a Proton user, there's a new update. The 6.3-1 supports even more games, improves PlayStation 5 controller support. Pardon me, guys, I am not a gamer, so I don't know how good this is, but there is a listing of games here that now apparently work really well under Proton. So if you were holding out because of some of your favorite games on Proton, go ahead and grab the new version of this, give it an install, and see if it actually works. So go ahead and have a look at that. And Best Buy, they are trying to compete with Amazon Prime. They have a new concierge type program. It's called Best Buy Beta. I don't think that means beta mail. I think that means Best Buy, you're testing it out for us, I guess. And this plan here is Amazon Prime is about $100 a year. This is about $200 a year. Where they're really coming in and saying that they want the advantage is they want that personal touch. And if this actually works well and they do roll this out competently, this could be a good thing. It's not for me. I don't need to call an inferior tech support guy to ask questions. But my mother, I'd be like, go buy the Best Buy thing and can't bother them when you have questions about how to delete your email. I would really like to see one of those. I would pay extra money. I would pay the $200 fee to watch the Best Buy guy try and teach my mother how to delete email. All right. So, but here's what you get for $200 a year. First, you got dedicated and exclusive concierge support. So this is not just limited to things you've bought at Best Buy. You could call them up because your TV that you bought at Walmart's not working, to my understanding. You get free and fast shipping with no minimums and an extended return window. So you can have like 60 days to return things instead of the usual 30. There are some exclusive sales that only go for members. You do have unlimited Geek Squad technical support on all technology in your home. 2-year warranty protection on most purchases at Best Buy, including Apple Care on Apple products you buy from Best Buy, and free in-home standard delivery and installation on most Best Buy purchases. So for a certain demographic, this is a really good deal. Of course, Amazon Prime, if I were to buy a subscription service, Amazon Prime would probably be it, because I do order from Amazon. Sorry, workers in the bottle. Please put that bottle to pack my box before you pee in the bottle. But it does also contain streaming of a variety of different sorts. It does get you faster shipping. I think Amazon's is still a little bit better in my personal case, but there is a person that this Best Buy is a good deal on. So if that happens to be you, go ahead and look into it. So there you go. That's actually an interesting program coming down from Best Buy, if you trust them. I'm not sure. I used to think that the Geek Squad was completely incompetent, but I've met some people who worked for Best Buy's Geek Squad, and they were very competent people. So I guess it's kind of hit and miss. Do you actually have freedom to do stuff to your knowledge, or do you have to follow through a checklist like a Monroe muffler parts replacer? I don't know what this thing's doing, but I'm going to unscrew it because the directions say tone. Screw this one back in. Yeah. All right. Anyway, Clarence Thomas wants Congress to regulate Twitter moderation. He makes an interesting argument here. The argument that he makes is that these are the same reason that they took your basic utilities and made Title II is because they're so recognized, so used, and so public. And that was his argument. If something is so recognized, so new, and so public, then it qualifies as this. And this is really his argument to say, hey, we need to sit down and hold back and say, look, these are the things that we might need to do in order to keep the platform around. Otherwise, it just kind of devolves into its own crazy insanity. And so this was an interesting read going through. It was an opinion from the Supreme Court. And so I like this standpoint. I like the idea that he says, yeah, you lose your private company, I can do whatever I want status when you are a public element. When, like, it's the same thing with Facebook. When Facebook comes pre-installed on every phone sold in the country, it's common carrier. It's not a private company anymore. And it needs some extra level scrutiny. I'm not a huge fan of government regulation, but there's a thought. And on to our final. The Supreme Court did finally rule on this decade-long case between Google and Oracle. So this was over the APIs involved in building Android. When Android 1 comes out and Google decided that they're going to go ahead and use Java as the platform. Java was what I think it was Sun Microsystems or Sun Microsystems. And that was purchased by Oracle. Oracle looks down and sees Google using the APIs and goes, "You can't do that. You owe us a lot of money." And then they come back in and like, "Well, no, it's an API. It's available." And this has been going back and forth between cases and wins and losses and appeals and counter appeals and all these types of things. The Supreme Court has finally ruled on it this week and sided with Google. So apparently, yes, APIs can indeed be used, and they can be copied, and they cannot be specifically copyrighted. Now, the case actually questions about the copyrightability, but what it didn't actually do is it didn't rule on that directly. What it ended up doing is they looked at how it was used, where it came from, and all these types of things. And it kind of looked at this and said, no, this is an API. It was designed for this purpose. Google used it for this purpose. And then another company got mad after they bought it that probably would have done it differently. But it's like, at the time this was used, this is perfectly acceptable. And so there we have it. Hopefully that's the end of this decade-long case. And it does appear that Google has won. Whether you think that's good or bad, whatever that happens to be. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, have a look at ExpressVPN if you are in need of a VPN service. You can connect up to 5 devices. You can even set some applications on those devices to go through the clear net and then some through the VPN. You can go ahead and use this guy here, move around to whatever geolocation you happen to need. You can secure internet connections if you are on open networks a lot, things like that. So have a look over there, tlm.li/EV for ExpressVPN. That will help save you a little bit of money and help support the channel. Let's head on over to one dystopic story and then some Sillyville. So first, before we get into the Sillyville, I need to terrify you first. It's just going to make the lack of silly news this week sound all the better. Because the French army is now testing the Boston Dynamics robot dog Spot in combat scenarios. Is this not what we've been warning you about ever since the very beginning here? Yeah, the robo-dog's going to come over and just start whooping a can open. And there he is. There you go. So now the French is already utilizing robots in military circumstances and situations. How long is it before every other country says, well, if France does it, I have to do it now too? Because if France happens to send a squadron of robotic dogs after me, we have to be ready to order our own squadron of robotic dogs. It'll just be like Transformers, right? The Autobots versus Decepticons. Let's see what carnage is going on. We'll just be watching the middle going, oh boy, this is exciting, until Skynet decides to nuke the Earth and trigger mutually assured destruction. So, there we have it, guys. So the de-escalation begins. They're doing it. Now China's going to do it. Now United States will do it. Then Russia's going to do it. Then it's going to be a thing, and we're going to have Unicron before we know it. So there we have it, guys. There we have it. Spot. Good Spot. Spot. Put that down, Spot. No! And Spot's eating my organs. So there we have it. I wonder how Boston Dynamics think about this. Remember, Boston Dynamics pulled somebody's license because they put a paintball gun on it. Somehow, France using it for actual combat scenarios is okay. Something about this just smells a bit fishy. Or does it smell a bit puppy? I don't know. Well, Facebook hopes that tiny labels on posts will stop users from confusing satire with reality. Yeah, our world has gone that stupid. I'm reading a story. I don't understand. What is a satire page? Yeah, people don't understand satire. parody, satire, things like that. And but yeah, some people are like getting all caught up in what's satire and what's not satire or whatever else. And so Facebook now wants to put a satire notice on posts because apparently we are that stupid in America that we can't read them and tell the difference. Although I do have to say, sometimes you just can't tell anymore because our world is becoming so insane. So there we have it. And next we have Adidas releases a new pair of shoes. That is a Lego block pair of shoes. You can build your shoes with Legos. That's right, guys. Now, no word if you, I mean, everything here has it doing the Legos on the side, but there's clearly dots on the front. I haven't seen anybody building anything on the front. I want to see these guys on the front and on the side. And this sole, that looks like torture. That doesn't look like a comfortable sole. That looks like torture. But, oh well, I guess that's the case. So there's your Lego shoes. You guys that are into Lego, you guys can get your $200 Adidas Lego shoes. Well, at least it's not, $600 666 satanic Nikes with blood in them, I guess. But there's that always, I guess. And now Floom is a new augmented reality device that allows you to tunnel through the earth. This is the child's dream come true. Everybody's like, I'm going to dig right through the earth and right on down to China. And then you'll come digging back because like, they wanted to harvest my organs over there, mommy. And so they came back. And there we have it. So now the augmented reality, it uses your phone and everything else. And then you can kind of decide where you're going with it. And then you can just go ahead and push the button and it'll drill a hole right on down into the earth. And it will show you, I wonder if I can make these bigger. It's going to show you what's down there based on Google Maps. Here you go. Here's a better one up here. So just kind of point it, tap it, and then you open up. And whatever happens to be on the opposite end of the world based on the angles that you're using is going to appear on Google Earth. So there we have it, guys. We can now tunnel through the earth. And there we have it. That's welcome to society. We're locking everything down. People are going out of business. People are losing their jobs. Allegedly, the whole country's systemically racist, and we have to come up with a way to tunnel through the earth. Go to more dystopian societies, I guess. I don't know. Very weird. Very weird. Well, if you want to help support the channel, I do have a Subscribestar page, subscribestar.com/SwitchedToLinux. You can help support the channel on over there. We have a couple different ways over there. We do have our posts over here, so you can go ahead and see what we are doing. So with that, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching this video from SwitchedToLinux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.